So there's been some controversy on the internet, wouldn't you believe it? Controversy on the internet, well I never. And this controversy involves a cyclist and a canal. So who better to insert themselves messily into this situation than me? So let's watch the video and I'll tell you honestly what I think. And yeah, the internet has its crazy opinions, so we'll look at those too. Let's do this. So this is the video in question. Let's get it back to the beginning so you can just watch it and I'll tell you what I think.
Is dog?
Yeah? Do you want a fuck bike?
Dog?
Well, firstly, what an amazing person, eh? What an absolutely amazing, brilliant, friendly guy. I'm being sarcastic, of course. So in this video, there's a lady cycling down the canal towpath where she meets a man who will not let her pass, and then she ends up in the canal. Now, she alleges that she was pushed into the canal, and he alleges that she barged past him and then fell into the canal. Well, we've watched the video, so let me know in the comments down below what you think happened. And this is where the hot takes come in. The intellectuals of the internet start to show themselves, leaving all the amazing comments. And the first one I've seen, and the one that just comes up time and time again, every time you watch a video like this, something like this happens, they will say the person was going too fast. Just look at the video, look how fast they're going. So yeah, let's look at the video and see how fast she was going. So just look at the hedge, look at the floor. You can see loads of motion blur there. So it looks like she's going really fast, doesn't it? And that's actually part of the GoPro effect, the action camera effect. Now, action cameras have a very wide field of view to capture all the said action. And it makes a lot of motion blur and things look like they're going faster than they are. If you're close to a hedge or the camera's mounted low down, close to the ground, like it is here in this video, then it makes it look like you're going a lot faster. The best way to make the image look really slow and boring, and the actual speed that it is just zoom in on the actual subjects and then play the video again. And just watch this for a comparison now. See how much slower this looks. Look at that. That is night and day slower, isn't it? I mean, compared to the last image we just watched, you can see she's not actually really moving that fast. And you can see from the way he reacts, if she was bulleting towards him, I don't think he would just stand there like that. He would get out of the way, or he would at least make more of a stance ready to kind of receive an impact, which he clearly isn't. So you can see there, firstly, she's not moving that fast. I see this all the time, and I think there are very good arguments against it out there on the internet, so people are more educated, but it still comes up time and time again. So she wasn't moving that fast. The next dumb comment I see a lot of is, whenever a cyclist comes across somebody on foot, what they should be doing is getting off the bike and walking the bike past them. They shouldn't be staying on the bike. That's not the etiquette. So yeah, this is what she did wrong. Well, actually, there is an etiquette. It's written down, and wouldn't you believe it, you are allowed to stay on your bike. I know it's crazy, isn't it? So this is the code of conduct on the Canal and River Trust website, but here's a sign as well which simplifies it. Now, pedestrians do have priority, but before you start getting all like, yeah, that means we can give cyclists all the abuse and swear at them and be really angry at them, and no, that doesn't mean that. What you having priority as a pedestrian means that you are considered the vulnerable user in this interaction of passing, this transitional phase we are both in as cyclist and pedestrian. A pedestrian could have some disability. That means they can't move as fast, or they could be older, pregnant. I don't know, many reasons. But they are to be allowed time so they can pass safely. And they dictate the pace in which the passing happens. They have priority in this kind of a social transaction. But the next part does state they have to allow the cyclist to pass. But really, honestly, what is the alternative? I mean, are you just going to stand there and have some sort of standoff and not let the cyclist go past? And then you're just going to be there like all day? Don't you both have things to do? You have to allow the cyclist to pass. You can't just block them. And to think that a cyclist would have to get off their bike every time a pedestrian comes by, it's just frankly ridiculous. I mean, statistically, bikes are not dangerous. I know someone's going to come up with, well, there's the one time that this happened. Yeah, there's one time that pretty much anything that can happen in the world has happened at least once. But that doesn't make a correlation. That doesn't make causation. That doesn't make a pattern. That just means anything that can happen will happen. But in the majority of cases, in most instances, you know, everyone's totally safe. People are saying as well that because she tried to pass him, this is assault. Because she touched, potentially, he claims that she touched him with her handlebars. But let's just see, how fast was she going? So let's say she did. She was the one that touched him with the handlebars. Let's just have a look.
There, do you want to
Oh, there you go, there it was. Okay, so that's how fast she was going. Was she really going that fast? Let's say she did touch him with the handlebars. Could that have possibly hurt that full-grown man? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, it didn't hurt him. So that's just another ridiculous thing as well. And just bearing in mind, he should have stood to one side and allowed her to pass, but he didn't. She didn't really have any choice. And also as well, this guy is showing tons of pre-indicators for violence. He's swearing at her. You can see he widens his feet into an aggressive stance. He's calling her an idiot. So she just wants to get past him and away as quickly as possible, away from this situation. And I think one thing I haven't really got into, I haven't mentioned, is that this is a man and this is a woman. Now, I hate to get into the whole gender thing, and I feel like everyone's just crazy about gender these days. But at the end of the day, this is a woman by herself on a canal, and this is a very aggressive man. She's just trying to get away. And I can only imagine the psychological impact. I think she actually has stated this has had a psychological impact on her. She was in the canal, and she claims that he didn't even try to help her. He didn't try to help her out. She can't swim. She was clipped into her bicycle pedals. This had to be a pretty traumatic experience for this poor person. So I am really sorry that they had to go through that. Now let's have a look at what potentially could have been done differently. It's very easy for me to say this as I'm sat here at home, totally safe. But let's just have a look at what potentially, if there's anything we can learn from it. When she's cycling towards this guy, it's clear he's not going to move. He's got no intention to move. This is like his line in the sand, you shall not pass moment. I think staying silent is probably the worst thing you could do. And I'm not saying be aggressive to start screaming at the person, but maybe just say, hello, good morning. It diffuses the situation. And it doesn't mean the person's necessarily then going to be your friend or be friendly to you, but I do find it's very disarming and causes people to maybe move. You might still get an earful as you pass, but at least you get to pass. So that's potentially one thing she could have done slightly differently. Okay, the next interesting thing as well is that she mentions the dog. Right, so I think what she's trying to say there is your dog's not on a lead, your dog should be on a lead. And actually there is etiquette and guidelines for this on the Canal and River Trust website. It actually doesn't state dogs have to be on a lead, it just states they have to be under control. And to me, that dog looks under control. That's not an out of control dog. I think what she is doing here, she's responding to this person's aggressiveness, the accusatory manner in which he's speaking to her, and just coming back at him with, well, your dog isn't on a lead. And I'm not criticizing her here for this. I don't think it really changed how things went if she mentioned the dog or not. I think the outcome probably would have been the same. One thing to say is don't get sucked into that other person's aggression. It's very easy to mirror somebody when they're being aggressive to you, so you start being aggressive to them, and it only ever escalates the situation. And unfortunately, when we're cycling, sometimes the best thing to do is swallow your pride, and especially when you're on the road and it's a car doing this to you as well, because that's when potentially you could end up in a very serious situation. Finally, the one thing I would have done differently as well is when passing. Now, I've just been saying she doesn't have to get off a bike. It's well within her right to stay on a bike. However, this guy is clearly not letting her pass, and he's trying to make it as difficult and as dangerous as possible for her to pass, forcing her onto the grass.
Do you want a bike?
There. And you are in the worst position right there. This person can push you, attack you, or you could just fall. We don't know what happened, like I said. I would have got off my bike and also used my bike almost like a shield between me and that person. They actually even recommend you do that when you're going through bear country. If you come across a bear and a bear's coming at you, you to get off your bike and put your bike between yourself and the bear to give you a little bit of a barrier. I don't know how much good it would do. Yeah, I would have done that because it's quite clear that person was giving pre-indicators to violence. Whether they committed violence or not, they were swearing, they were calling her an idiot, and the way he was stood. Yeah, I would not have tried to cycle past that guy. I would have dismounted. However, again, it's easy for me to say that. She was by herself, and this is an aggressive man. I think she just wanted to put as much distance between herself and this guy as possible. So it's clear. So I think anybody with half a brain and anybody with any kind of amount of empathy or human emotion would sympathise massively with this poor woman. She was subject to a horrendous verbal abuse. Somebody who's extremely aggressive. And I think a lot of these takes on the internet are, quite frankly, just ridiculous. And I have to ask as well, would this guy have done this if it was a man, another man? It's a question worth asking. It needs asking, to be fair. And something that I do notice, I don't see many women cyclists alone on the canal. I see a lot more men. And I think the reason is because of stuff like this, that some people feel more empowered to be aggressive towards a woman or somebody they perceive to be visibly weaker than themselves. So it's just it's a sad state of affairs. It's disgusting. But quite frankly, it's very sad to see. So what do you think? What's your opinion? Just leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I want to get a video out on this because it's something, you know, I do quite regularly. I cycle these canals all the time. I have videos on the canals. I have a video on this Ashton Canal, which is part of the Huddersfield Canal video that I did. So check those out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, thanks very much. Bye-bye.